You're laying in bed when you hear the door open. Your eyes open slowly. You're home alone and it's 11 at night. Who's there? You smile into the dark. Not many people have a key or a way inside, and it's not like you're being robbed. It's me, calm down. As soon as a voice purges the deafening silence, you know who it is. Illumi. You take a breath. Why are you here? You're fairly surprised he's here again. The tile is painfully loud as he walks toward you. It is all you can hear. Irrelevant question. And anyway, aren't you happy to see me? I'm not happy about any visitors at this time of night, least of all you. It's not like I can actually see you. Anyway, your eyes narrow slightly. The truth is, you've developed a bad habit of anticipating his little visits. Not that you tell him that. You'd always been unable to keep yourself from enjoying the time he spent wandering your apartment. The way he absent-mindedly shuffled through the kitchen and looked through your things. He'd open the fridge just to stare in and close it shortly, eating nothing. In his absence, you'd felt a kind of boredom that started in your stomach and made time pass slower than you wanted it to. Just your perception, obviously, but these were bad signs. You didn't have any extra room in your head for attachments, strong or weak, and were permanent or short-lived, or whatever it may be, especially whatever you felt now, and especially for Illumi. You should confess, there's no way you aren't hopelessly in love with me by now. He sighs, standing over you. You don't look at him, rolling your eyes. He has quite the theatrical side. He always says his line with just enough irony, just enough innocence. Art, and theater by extension, are subjective, but you grow tired of his performances. Love wasn't what you felt for him. He simply interested you. You wanted to know him, to understand the clockwork in his eyes. You have a way of making me feel like some sort of experiment. You note, avoiding the topic of feeling in general. He doesn't respond, only rolls his eyes and sits down on your bed. Silence again. He turns his head to look at you and tucks his hair behind his ear. Hi, he says. Hi, you say. He's so weird, and he looks at you, sitting under the covers, and you look at him, long legs crossed gracefully, chin resting in his hand, long black hair spilling over his shoulders like a tar. Even when he was just a stranger to you, it wouldn't take a genius to be able to understand that this is someone dangerous, someone to be scared of. So, you start again. Why do you keep coming here, trying to sound casual? In truth, you are dying to know. He's a bird, flying through your door when the clock strikes 12. He could fly wherever, but he comes to you regardless. You are no bird. There are no clocks behind your eyes, and no wings on your back. You are not the same kind of being as he is. Not in a self-deprecating way, but in a truthful way. You break his gaze, and with it, your train of thoughts. You were hoping for a straightforward answer from him. He just raised his eyebrows in amusement and turned his head slightly. Obviously, an honest answer is far too much to ask from the thespian himself. You wish he'd break character just once, so you could know if any of it were real. Maybe I am an experiment for you, you say to your ceiling. Silence again. Maybe you are. He says after a pause. He delivers another line, perfectly. You realize this is the longest conversation you've ever had with him. The crowd goes wild. You cannot hear them. You find yourself inexplicably frustrated. The thing is that more than most anything, you want him to leave. You never want to see him again. You want to be so physically far away from him that his entire impression on you will have been wiped from your mind and cleaned from your eyes. He weighs on you. The bird on your shoulder grows heavy. He flies over you, silent, loud, impossible to see. He holds you back, and he lingers in your head. You think you see him when you know. You think you see him when you know you don't. Around every corner and behind every tree, a shadow. He follows you. You climb the mountain on tired legs over and over. He stands at the top and pushes you down over and over. There is no boulder, just him. You wear a collar with his name on it, just him. A silence grows louder, forever and ever. It scares you when he speaks. I guess I'll go, he says, tracing the lines in his palms, finality in his voice. This is a perfect opportunity. This is where your odd little routine ends. A happy ending, all over with a nod of his head. It's simple, really. You want him to leave. No. What? You heard the word only after it hung in the air for a few moments longer, before it echoed back into your mind. You aren't sure that the voice is yours at first. The stranger sounds so embarrassed of themselves, so ashamed they don't sound like you, but the voice is yours. Oh. You hear his voice ring into the darkness, and you dig your nails into your palms. Why would you do this to yourself? Talk about self-sabotage. The bird is feral. Instead of opening the door to let it out, you coax it closer with the promise of nothing. Insane, 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 insane. You breathe through your teeth and lay down. Your hand briefly touches your skin, and the birds eat out of your palm, and the clock ticks, and he grabs your hand, wrapping his long fingers around yours. Thus is a new character in the play. He sings a different song than usual. You feel impossibly cold and impossibly hot. You look at him, but he stares up at the ceiling. He grips your hand like a child. Your breath syncs with his. The silence grows, and you lay there, side by side. Maybe not, he says slowly, nervously. Is he still acting? Not what? Maybe not. An experiment. You close your eyes, and silence envelops you. He grips your hand like a child. This boy is nothing like the bird of method and calm you've come to know. He grips your hand like a child. Is this just a new side of him that you simply didn't know existed? Is he still acting? Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it doesn't. He grips your hand like a child. You squeeze your eyes shut. Who are you? You whisper into the dark. He answers after a pause. I don't think you want to know. You think you already do. He is a shadow. Every shadow. A bird, heavy and high and always watching. Illumi is the calm before the rage, the eye of the storm, far gone and forever lost. A little broken, you suppose, but no. That doesn't begin to explain the damage that has been done to him. He is another thing entirely. Broken begins to imply that something can be fixed. Illumi is not broken. Illumi is shattered. Illumi, I know you're awake. Illumi, red. Yesterday, 11:53. Illumi, answer me. Red. Today, 2:42. I can't sleep. Illumi. Fine. Red. You think about him. Illumi. You think about the way his eyes go wide. You think about how you've never seen him smile. You think about how he doesn't seem to have pupils, just deep black oceans instead of eyes. Oceans deep enough to drown in. You think about how when he looks at you, your words drag and your breath stops. He makes you feel weak. You think about how he looks empty. You think about how you feel empty. He hasn't come to see you or answered any of your texts. Maybe it's better for you this way, to separate yourself from him quickly and efficiently. Maybe this is the way to go about it. And yet, you feel like something is missing. You feel like you and Illumi have an unfinished story. The truth is, you would do anything to see him smile, just once, and the thought that you'd never be able to do that makes you want to die. It makes you feel like you're already dead. Today, 12:42 a.m., Illumi, the park near my place. In 10 minutes, please. Red. As you enter the dimly lit park, you walk over to a swing set and sit down on one of the 3 swings. The few lights scattered across the park are faint, and some are flickering. You look around, you close your eyes. You aren't sure how long you wait there, sitting on the swing with your eyes closed. It could have been hours, it could have been seconds. But when you do open them, you see that someone is sitting on the swing next to yours. Illumi. You sigh. You feel relieved, you feel afraid. Then he turns to look at you, and you inhale sharply. You never answered me, you say quietly, leaning back in your swing. He looks up at the sky. I don't like the way you make me feel. That doesn't make any sense. You were the one that came to me in the first place. You're tired of his words that only ever hint at the truth. Tired of his inconsistency. Yeah, he agrees, looking back out at the poorly lit playground. You can tell he's avoiding your gaze on purpose, and this tires you further. Then why? You ask. You could have just told me you didn't want to talk to me anymore. Yeah, he says again. You shake your head just as you thought you figured out what's going on in his head. He has completely confused you again. I let myself think you were more than a killer. Maybe that was a mistake. You whisper. You know you're being hypocritical. You don't have the energy to care. You take a deep breath, and a familiar emptiness welcomes you with open arms. The distress fades away, and icy clarity reclaims your senses. You look at Illumi and find him smiling. Smiling. That's when it hits you. This is the first time you've seen him smile. You smile too. You smile until your cheeks hurt. Illumi looks at you silently. Hey, you say, almost a question. Hey, he answers, almost an apology. You get up out of your seat on the swing and walk until you're standing directly in front of him. He cocks his head to the side. You take him in, eyes narrowed, face pale. His tall, lanky frame looks completely out of place, curled up in a children's swing. You look down at him. He stares up at you. You reach out your hand. He takes it. You feel your phone vibrate in your pocket and see Illumi's name flashing on the screen. Holding your phone between your ear and your shoulder, you stand up out of bed and crack your knuckles. Hey, open your door. Huh? I said open your door. What are you talking about? You say, moving toward your front door. He hangs up and you curse, your phone dropping to the ground as you try to open the old rusty lock on your door. You open the door and see Illumi standing alone in the doorway. You look up at him and he shivers. Are you cold? You ask, opening the door all the way. No. He answers plainly. You turn around and walk back to your bed, leaving your door open for him. The door shuts behind Illumi as you sit quietly on your bed. He walks up to your bed and sits down, facing away from you. You look up at him. So, he says to no one. You sit up and scoot backward so your back is against the headboard. You get a view of the back of his head. You sigh and pull the covers out from under you. Scoot back towards me, you murmur. He turns toward you, puzzled. Why? You roll your eyes. Just do it. When he's moved so his back is right in front of your legs, you reach up and touch his. He freezes as you run your fingers through his long, pitch-black hair, left over middle, right over middle. Illumi doesn't breathe as you nimbly braid the pieces, fingers moving silently. After a few minutes you've finished, and you use a hair tie from your wrist to finish the braid. Look at me. He swings his legs around so that he's facing you, legs crossed. You examine the single French braid, and he watches you. You smile at him. His eyes narrow suspiciously. Why are you smiling? He accuses. Illumi, you whisper. You lean your forehead against his. Illumi, you're so pretty. His eyes widen as you place your hands on each side of his face. Hey, he says, almost a question. Hey, you answer, almost an apology. You tuck a strand of hair behind his ear, and he presses his lips against yours.
He's never gonna make it. All the poor people he's forsaken. Karma is always gonna chase him for